Hey guys, hope all's well. It's certainly been a minute since I've sat in this chair and played some chess, and I want to get back into it. The fire was sort of rekindled this weekend when I was in Nashville, actually, coaching for a school, Durham Academy, for the Supernationals. If you don't know what the Supernationals are, it's the big scholastic kindergarten to 12th grade event of the year, essentially the Scholastic Championships, national championships, and I was brought on as a coach with by my good friend Craig Jones, who coaches at Durham Academy. So shout out to Craig, shout out to Durham Academy. There's a lot of talented kids that did well this weekend, but I think really even more important than the individual efforts are the team efforts, because it's just a blast working towards one common goal, and that manifested itself in a huge victory for Durham Academy. They won. They came first place in the K1 championship as a team, which is the first time they've ever done that in school history. So congratulations to them. My voice sounds a little bit choppy, rusty, because I've been out late celebrating, traveling, catching a little bit of sickness, recovering, drinking, etc., etc. So this is all of that, and I just figured it's midnight here, but I'm still sort of riding on fumes, and I thought I gotta build the momentum that came from the Nationals. I gotta get back into it. I gotta make some videos. So this one is just going to be Blitz on ICC like the good old days. Just gonna be playing and analyzing while I play, and hope you enjoy. So I already put myself in the pool, and I'm waiting now, and we'll see who comes up. And of course, I gotta have my tea to sort of hold me down while I talk and play. And we have a game. Knight f3. Okay, I'm gonna go g6. Pretty flexible move. And then d4. Now I'm gonna go knight f6 to take away the e4 move, because I didn't want to play a perk. And bishop f4 is the beginning of the London system. Very popular opening right now. Essentially just trying to get the bishop outside of the pawn chain, the one on f4 that is, and just really put pressure on whatever break white attempts to make. Because typically white tries to go for e5 or c5 in the King's Indian, and now either of those breaks may open up the scope of the f4 bishop. So that's essentially the gist of it. So, but I've done some work in the London system, and I'm not so scared about it. So let's see what that looks like. So a4 is always this move, trying to create a weakness on, create a lever with a5, and it's a pretty good move. But yeah, now a5 is played, and I actually believe that one shouldn't play a6. A lot of times the white player or the black player plays a6 to deal with the a4, a5 push, but I actually find that not to be such a great idea, because what winds up happening sometimes is then a6 becomes a weakness. So now I'm sort of just trying to trade some pieces and needle. And I think rook c1 is a mistake, because it might allow queen b5, which attacks the a6 pawn and the b2 pawn, but I have to just check on that. Because if I go queen b5, white does have queen b7. I'm going to go for it. I expect queen b7 here to at least attack my a7 pawn. Yeah. And I was thinking I can get greedy and take on b2. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to get greedy. And now, because now at least the knight on d2 is attacked. But the problem is my e7 pawn and my my e7 pawn and my a7 pawn are targets. So white will probably get their pawn back. But I thought that I might get some counterplay in the meantime with taking on b2 and maybe getting to play c takes d4 as well. So I think I should be okay. So now I'm going to take on d4. And the point is that c takes d4 is impossible, because I play rook takes c3. So now I can take on c3, which I'm going to do. And queen takes e7 would be a mistake, because I have knight d5. So yeah, queen takes a7 is a move, but now I have knight d5. And all of a sudden I like my position. My knight on d5 is really good. protecting the e7 pawn and the b6 pawn, and I'm attacking the bishop on f4, and it's just a lovely square for the knight. And okay, bishop g5, trying to get at the e7 pawn, but is that a problem? Questions. I'm gonna go queen c6. The point is, I'm trying to go rook a8. I'm comfortable with. I'm willing to give up the e7 pawn if I can get the a6 pawn. So now queen b7. Yep, and now I'm gonna go knight takes e7 and trade those, and essentially just take this pawn. And now I'm a pawn up, but I ruined my pawn structure, so I don't know what the cost is. Knight g5, yep, I expected that. And my point was to go queen d5 to protect f7 and attack the g5 knight. And now if I can just go rook a8 and cover my back rank, I feel like I should be okay. Ooh, knight h7 is a strong move that I missed. Man, I missed that move. Because now white gets a pawn back for the troubles. And yeah, I missed that move. Man, I missed that. Alright, so I'm going to go b5. I'm going to start pushing this pawn. b5, b4. And, okay. White is trying to play rook e8 and trying to checkmate me. So I'm going to go rook a8 to cover myself. And now queen e7 needs to be played. Yep, and I'm going to go b4. Keep pushing my pawn. Uh-oh, rook e4 is threatening to play rook h4 check. I'm going to go king g7 to get out the way of that. And I think I'm alright if I continue to push my pawn. If I go b3 and b2, I think it's pretty dangerous. I don't see any threat to my king yet, so... Oh no. I missed this rook h4 trick. So now I have to run away. Ooh, that was not good. That's the rush showing. That is definitely the rush showing, because now all of a sudden I'm in a really, really awful ending, queen ending, a pawn down, and this is really tough to defend. But I have some chances because my b pawn is a passed pawn, so maybe I have some chances to defend. No. Yeah, I'm going to resign, and the reason I'm going to resign is because king b6 was an awful move. Essentially, I didn't protect the d6 pawn, and my f2 pawn is... and I can take the f2 pawn, but after I take it, then queen takes d6 check, and my king is hanging. So that was a little sloppy. Unfortunately, I can live to fight another day. So e4. I really was looking at the Smith-Morra a little bit this weekend, and I found some resources in the Smith-Morra. So I'm hoping that someone plays a Sicilian against me so that I can play the Smith-Morra. I've always never been a fan of the opening. I don't believe much in gambits, but there's some real compensation in the Morra that I sort of neglected or didn't respect, and now I do. So so it's funny how things turn when you get a chance to analyze. But the Smith-Morra isn't as awful as I initially thought it was. Well, awful is a strong word. I didn't think it was awful. I just thought it was just markedly incorrect. And it's not necessarily the case. Knight e7. Okay, I don't like that move because now I have knight g5 and I'm hitting the f7 pawn. And I sort of want to play an exchange sacrifice. I want to play rook takes f6. But I don't think I have enough for it just yet. So I'm going to go queen e1. The idea is to shift my queen over to g3 or h4 given the opportunity. So, yeah. All right, knight g6 makes sense. And I'm going to go queen g3. And now, if I could try and, like, double rooks, that would be great. So I'm going to do that. And if I get double rooks and make an exchange sacrifice, then it's almost decisive, because I could go rook takes f6, g takes f6, and then if my other rook is to f6, I'm hitting f7, and black's whole position would just collapse. So I really do feel like I might have something here in a few moves if black continues to play on the queen side with a5. Because here the black's rooks aren't connected, and black is lacking a little bit in space on the king side, and the queen on e8 is a little bit meh. Bishop e6 is a good move though, trying to sort of clear some congestion on the king side, specifically with this diagonal. And I can win the bishop here with knight takes e6, but I have a feeling that's not the best move, because if I play knight takes e6, then black can sort of move the knight from f6 and contest my rook on the f file with his own rook on f8. So I wonder what to do. On the other hand, though, I see I can win a pawn, and I really like pawns. So it's a tough decision. I'm going to take it. I like pawns. I can't help myself. I see that the e6 pawn is hanging after queen h3, and I'm also threatening rook takes f6, which adds insult to injury, because if rook takes f6, there's queen takes h7 mate next. Now he's defended that threat with queen e7, but still, I like my position. So I'm going to go knight takes e6, and then I'm just going to go knight g5 back, and I managed to rob a pawn off this guy. And now I'm going to double rooks and try to get some pressure. Now I have all my pieces pointing at black's king side, and this should be super dangerous. So rook f6, okay. What does that change? How does the I'm gonna now move my knight over, get my knight to the party. If I could somehow play like knight e2, knight g3, and then knight f5, or maybe even knight g5, or maybe even knight h5, my knight is really, really concentrated here. h6 doesn't actually attack my knight because there's a pin, so I'm just going to ignore that and go knight g3. And again, I think I'm getting real pressure here, because now if king g8, I have knight f5 as a move, and yeah. Alright, so knight h7, what does that do? I don't think it does anything. I'm going to go knight f7 check. Alright, so he's trying to win, and he's trying to get the piece back, and maybe, I'm trying to make sure that's not success. Yeah, I'm gonna take here, because even in this endgame, I'm a pawn up, and I think it's pretty tough for. I think it's going to be a little bit tough to defend. Or am I a pawn up? Yeah, I'm a pawn up. It's a double pawn, but I have some real pressure here, so I'm gonna try and keep that going. Knight h5, just trying to win the g7 pawn. And if the g-pawn moves, then I have knight f6, which sends rook h7 mate. So I think I'm winning a pawn here. And you might say, why did I keep my pawns doubled like this? The reason is because my e4 pawn controls the d5 square and the f5 square. So I didn't want to play e takes d5 and then sort of help activate black's knight. Now on the other hand, now black can play rook g8 and trade rooks, and hope that this endgame is holdable. But I have my doubts, because I think I can go knight g3 and knight f5, and all of a sudden my knight is really menacing on f5. So I'm going to try and go to f5 as soon as the knight on e7 goes away. And now I'm actually just going to try and get the the h5 h6 pawn. If I can go king, if I go king h5 and king takes h6, that should be pretty good. I think it's a winning endgame. All right, so yeah, that doesn't really solve the problem though. All right, he's trying to go knight b6 and knight c4. That's the plan. I see that. Yeah, knight b6 and knight c4 is a pretty annoying plan. And I do not know why I just sacked my knight. I'm just brain dead right now. That made no sense at all. Yeah. Ugh. I was totally winning there, and then I just messed it up. b4 wins on the spot, amazingly, because essentially there's this pawn on the a file is just going to run in queen. So, yeah, tough game. Let's try and get back in the saddle. That's 2 in a row I start out with losing, so can't make it 3 in a row. But anyways, if you looked at the position a little while ago after knight h5, this is just a much better position. I'm a pawn up. I have activity. I have more space. And yeah, I got to be better converting that. It's just a conversion that's got to be better from me. So, yeah, that's got to be better. But essentially, a lot of what the build-up was, I think, was more important than the actual result. And the point is that the build-up essentially was getting all the pieces to the queen side, all the pieces to the king side, doubling the rooks, playing knight g5, playing then knight g3, just getting everything in the game made it really dangerous. So I really want to win, and when I really want to win, the Sicilian is calling. So the c3 Sicilian, I really hate it, but I found this line to be pretty interesting, where you go d6, and then if they take on c5, you actually play knight c6. So, all right, bishop d3 was played, so I just go g6. And this line is pretty interesting, actually, because, okay, white has the center, but black has this fianchetto and bishop on g7, and doesn't really have any particularly bad pieces. So, yeah, so d5, okay, that's a move. I'm going to go knight b8 back. Yeah, now white has a really solid space advantage. And all of a sudden, it's almost turned into a Benoni structure. Yeah, very interesting. I'm going to go knight d7. And I would love to play b5, but it looks like that's not happening. And if that's not happening, I'm still going to play rook b8 and pretend that b5 is in the cards. And a5 I'm happy to see, because now I'm going to play b6 and at least get an open b file for my troubles. The one problem with this structure is that my a6 pawn is weak. And so I always like to count pawn islands, and to my eyes, white has one long pawn chain, and I have 2 pawn islands, which is no good. Rook a3. Okay, I'm going to go knight e8. I think it's important that I sort of get some counterplay going, so I'm going to try and go knight e8, knight c7 maybe. Rook b4 is a move. I'm going to go for it. The idea is to go knight b6 maybe, or even a5. I'm going to go queen b6. I know I'm running into knight a4 here, but I would love to sacrifice the exchange. if allowed. I'm going to go queen b8 just to sort of get out the way of this knight a4 move. But I actually am sort of willing to sacrifice the exchange, so if he takes my rook, I'm actually not so distraught about that. So please, take my rook, please. Because then my knight gets this really nice dark square, which I'd be happy to take over. And both sides are sort of refusing to fall into each other's plans because, again, bishop takes b4 was this idea, just trying to win the rook, but I really was comfortable playing on the dark squares there, so that was essentially the idea. But yeah, white is better here because the space is still bothering me, and e5 here is a really, really strong push. I'm going to go knight d7, try to reorganize a defense on the dark squares, but it's going to be hard without my dark squared bishop. But I think e takes d6 might have been a mistake. Relieving the tension is never really the best idea in the world. And now I'm going to go knight f6, and I seem to be having things together, relatively speaking, right now. Queen c3 maybe threatens knight g4, but my bishop's on g4, so I think I'm fine for now. So I'm going to go rook e8 instead of defending against knight g4. And yeah, as I expected, takes. Now I'm going to play h6 to cover against the g5 move. But g5 is actually still a good move, yeah, because after takes, now this knight takes, and now the knight may come to e4 and really harass me. So I still have a little bit of problems to solve. Now I'm going to play rook e5. The idea is essentially just to sort of block off the queen from this diagonal right now. Knight f3 makes sense, but now I'm going to go rook e7 back. And I'm going to try and double my rooks. Also, last move f4 was an idea. I did not see g4, and now all of a sudden I'm in a world of hurt because of g5. g5 is a real threat. Fortunately for me, I was sort of sitting on this move because I did see the threat, and I thought that my rook on b4 here was eyeing the g4 pawn. So I'm going to go in for a speculative piece sacrifice with knight takes d5. The idea is that, or actually I don't even think it's speculative. The idea is that after knight takes d5, c takes d5, I have rook takes g4 check. And if the king goes to h1, I have queen h8 check. And if king f1, I still have queen h8. And now all of a sudden I'm threatening mate on h3. So very, very unusual, very unusual geometry. But I think it works, and that's the most important thing. Because now I'm also threatening queen h1 as well, so I don't think there's really an easy way to stop those mating threats. And amazingly, I think white might be busted here. And that's a good way to get on the board, yeah. And, it looks like there's connection error, but that doesn't make sense because I should be winning the game, so I think I won the game. All right. That was clean. That was a good game. But I'm gonna re-log into ICC because it looks like there's somewhat of an issue. So I'm gonna log back out. Excuse me for the black screen for a moment, and then sign back in, and I'm connected again. All right, so that was actually a nice game, and I'm sad it might have ended abruptly because of connection error. But I think actually white might have been. I think white might have been the one that disconnected because I just had a clearly winning position. So, anyways, new game. Let's see. Okay, I'm waiting in the pool again, and I'm 1-2 today. 1 win, 2 losses, but I think I had good positions in the first 2 games as well. So, what can you do? While I'm waiting, I could tell you a little bit about the Supernationals. It's such an amazing event, honestly. Sort of a blur. It's just like you're analyzing games all day. Like I think I was analyzing games from like 8:45 to like 11 p.m. So it's like a really long day, but I really like analyzing games, and it's fun to me, and it's what I'm good at, and it allows me again to like stay connected and involved in this chess world, even though I haven't really been playing so much chess myself. So I really jumped at the opportunity to be a coach for a brief amount of time. And again, these are pretty young kids for the most part. I mean, we did have about maybe half high school age as well, but pretty young kids. So I don't know if I have the patience to work with young kids full time like that. I think that's one of the things I never really wanted to be a full time chess coach or anything, because I think I can do it in spurts, but not for long periods of time. But yeah, it's something that I really enjoyed, and it's cool to see people sort of get better right before your eyes as you sort of give them new things to sort of chomp on the bit about. It's really interesting to sort of see them grow. So, anyways, I'm getting very impatient with 5 minutes, so I might go to 3 minute. I'm going to put something in the 3 minute queue as well. Okay, good. 5 minute came up. I'm going to go e4. I'm dying to play a Mora because I saw... Oh, come on, play the Mora, man. The Caro-Kann I know pretty well as well, but I wanted to play against the Mora. And it's just freezing on me again. Nope, okay, we're good. But the Mora I really, really want to play against because I have some ideas there based on... There's this kid from DA named Pete Crowley. Shout out to Pete Crowley. He had a great event. He's about a 1700 player, but he beat multiple 2000s. And we were analyzing different Mora positions, and I was like, oh my gosh, like there's so many amazing ideas here that have not been unearthed, even after Esserman's Man in the Mora book. So for all you Mora fans out there, get to work. Start analyzing. There's some ideas there. I'm not going to give away all the secrets, but a lot of people are having trouble with this knight ge7 line in the Mora, and it's not... A lot of times black is getting the better side of that, but it's not about what the computer says in terms of the evaluation. It's about how you feel about the position. And I feel that that some of those lines are good. Anyways, bishop d6 is a mistake because of knight h5, and now it's really difficult to defend the g7 pawn. I wonder if black might just go back, like bishop f8, because king f8 looks really unappealing. And this knight h3 line against the Caro-Kann is really, really tricky. I've lost a game against it before, I think, it wasn't a long time control, but yeah. And yeah, now the thing about bishop takes g3 that I don't love is now I can play h takes g3, and again, the knight on h5 is still attacking g7, so yeah, now you're going to give me the bishop pair, which is pretty much a bad idea. I think we've already sort of understood that the two bishops are great, and you don't want to give them up. So I'm going to go rook h4. Now that my rook can't castle, or now that my king can't castle, I might as well keep my rook as active as possible in the h-file. And knight h6, knight f6 I don't love because I think I can play bishop h6, which just stops black from castling and develops. So yeah, I'm liking my position. Queen f6, fair move, fair move. I'm going to go queen f3. The point is that I might have bishop g7 ideas, and bishop g7 would really, really be a problematic move for black to face, because it hits the rook and hits the knight on f6. But I'm going to try to keep my bishops as long as I can. Anyways, queen a5, I expected that, and I was going to go bishop d2, just sort of saying no, because I don't want to play c3. And yeah, queen b6, okay, but now I'm just going to castle. And again, the two bishops are a force, and everything is protected on my side. And if castle's queen side, I have bishop g5, again, pinning the knight on f6 to the rook on d8. So, still, I think, a pleasant position for me. I also have rook f4. I might have had rook f4 a move ago. I might have missed that. The point is rook f4, and I'm trying to get 2 pieces for the rook. But I was a little bit worried about my b2 pawn hanging, so I didn't do it. So, alright, knight d5 deals with the bishop f4 threat, but I'm wondering if I have c4 now. That looks pretty dangerous, so I'm going to go for it, c4. And, okay, knight b4 is a move, but after knight b4 I have a3, again putting pressure on this knight on b4 if it goes there. So again, you know the formula: 2 bishops, space, pressure, 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 and then trying to win the game. That's the formula, and it usually tends to work. So yeah, the formula is awesome. So knight f97, the knight's trying to go to f5. Yeah. What to do? Knight f5 is a move. It definitely is a move. I want to go bishop c3 or rook f4. I'm not sure which. I'm going to go rook f4 because I think if knight f5, then I have g4. So after rook f4, knight f5, g4 is my idea. The point is that if knight takes d4, I have rook takes d4, queen takes d4, then bishop c3, which skewers the queen and the rook. And he's going for it anyway, which makes me second guess for a second. But I think it works. I'm going to go g4. And again, after knight takes, I have rook takes and bishop c3. So I think black is in some trouble here. Surprise, surprise. That's definitely not a move that black suspected, but again, it's based on general principles. I have the two. I'm not really looking for tactics all the time, but I have 2 bishops. My king is safer. You know, all those factors sort of usually lead to good things. So not such a surprise that that this should work. So yeah. So queen c5. Yeah, I'm gonna take that rook because it's free. And now, yeah, I just have a winning position. Queen g5 check. Okay, doesn't really bother me so much. I'm just going to go king b1. And I think he's going to try to trap my bishop with f6, but it's just a pipe dream, honestly. That's not going to happen. I have some options here. It's just a question of which one's most attractive. I can go queen d3. I can go rook takes d7. I'm going to go rook takes d7. And now I can go bishop takes f6. And again, it's saying I'm losing connection, but I think it's my opponent resigning. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's my opponent resigning. So, that's a bit strange. Connection loss. I don't know why. Anyways, hate to cut it short, but that's 4 games. I was 2-2. And I think you get the general gist here. White has a great position. If we go back against this knight h3 move in the Caro-Kann after bishop g6, if you're wondering, the idea is to play knight f4 and then h4, because if after knight f4 and then h4, black can't play h6, because then you'd have to, after knight takes g6, you'd have to recapture with the f pawns. That's the idea with knight f4, is to play knight f4 and then h4. And essentially with e6, knight f4, that doesn't really solve the problem. Typically, I was always taught that, or I was never taught, but I learned that that after knight h3, you should play knight f6. The point being that if knight f4, you can go e5, and after d takes e5, queen a5 check, and you lose the bishop on g6, but you are down the bishop pair, but black gets more active play than e6. And here, it's already really problematic because I'm threatening g7. I got the two bishops. Now you get, and this is just a good position for white. So with the space advantage. So keep those themes in mind. And with that, I'll probably well, I will wrap this up. One more thing I'll say before getting off. There were a few moments actually while I was in Nashville that also inspired me, where people came up to me that actually had seen my videos and watched my videos and were like, thank you. Like, I watch them, and it's worked and it's helped. And I just want to say, you guys watching actually means, and reaching out and saying all these great things means more to me than you'll ever know. I think I get as much out of it as you guys do from watching, just from hearing from you guys. And I love that feedback. I love the exchange, and so I'm really appreciative of that. And I'm still trying to work out the cadence with my schedule to make chess and work and videos work. But this is going to keep going, and we're going to keep this community going. So definitely stay tuned. All right, it's late. I'm out. Peace.